Hey everyone, it's Desiree, and I am here with Scrapping for Less and their Flavor of the Month card kit for May 2020. This month's theme, let's encourage one another, and that is so fitting for right now. As always, we're going to make 5 cards, but first let's do the reveal of what comes in the kit. As always, you can have the ingredient sheet and the sketch sheet, which will be available down below in my video description as links, so make sure you check those out. As always, I keep saying as always, oh my goodness, you get 2 sheets of Neenah 110 Pound Classic Crest Smooth, Wild Cherries, Orange Fizz, Lemon Drop, Grout Gray, Sour Apple, and Blue Raspberry are the colors names of your colored cardstock that will come in the kit as well. This is your cardstock, and that is by Scrapping for Less. And again, the name of the collection is called Love Big. The paper, it is called Love Big, and the stamp set by Scrapping for Less is called Benny the Bigfoot. You're also going to get some flowers in the collection 1 and also some chalk heart stickers by Sticko. For collection 2, this one is titled Easy Peasy, as the paper and the stamp set, which are both by Scrapping for Less. I am in love with these papers. I think those designs are absolutely gorgeous. You'll get a Yellow Twine by Darice, and you will also get some enamel dots by Gina Marie Designs. And the stamp set is just adorable with the lemon. Just saying. For collection 3, it is called Weather Together, and again, as is the paper and the stamp set, the paper is by Scrapping for Less, and I am just thrilled that the Weather Together stamp set was actually designed by Courtney Krieber, and we all know Courtney, and she did this exclusively for Scrapping for Less. So, yay, Courtney! Also get some enamel dots by Gina Marie Designs and Echo Park, and turquoise organza ribbon by Darice. In the last collection, it's called Little Lady, again, as the paper and the stamp set, they are both by Scrapping for Less. You will get some enamel dots by Gina Marie Designs, some ephemera by Scrapping for Less, and I love the fact that it's black, red, and white. I love those colors, and a piece of red crochet thread. So, very exciting. And look at the cute little ladybugs. Too precious. Now again, all of these items here that I am showing you are if you subscribe or purchase the Double Dip level. They also have a banana split level. And these contents, you'll get everything that you see already, plus what I'm showing now, which is embossing powder by Stampendous, which will be a random color. There will also be a die when it comes to the banana split. Unfortunately, I did not have, and I am stupid that I did not show the picture. Yes, but I will show it on my blog. It's called You Got This die, and again, that too was designed by Courtney Krieber. You have a Raindrops and Cloud stencil, that's by Scrapping for Less, and then of course a packet of sequins. So these are all the contents if you go with the banana split level. So let's get into the first card. So the first card, I'm making this one 6 by 6. So this is going to be a larger size card. And what I did was I took one of the sentiments and I cut into the sentiment. There was little screaming. Absolutely none. And I'm going to fit that on one of the hearts that are part of the kit. I'm going to use my white pigment ink by Gina K. And then I'm going to grab my white embossing powder and I'm going to heat set that. Know that even though this is a sticker, you're not actually heat embossing on the acetate. You are, however, heating up that acetate. So don't keep your heat gun on it too long. It will curl easily and it will burn your finger. Just saying. I'm just saying. I'm going to set that aside, and then I took the stamp of the foot. I thought the foot was really adorable. And I just stamped that once. So I thought it was really cute with the foot and the seek and the find. This card didn't turn out the way that I wanted it. So there's going to be, there's something missing and I just don't know what that is. Maybe you guys have a suggestion. But I did love the papers. I'm layering them up. I'm using one of the pattern papers as my base. And then I'm using layers to build up upon that. And then I'm going to cross the cardstock as well. So usually I like to do mats with my cardstock. So I'll take a solid and put a pattern paper on top of that, and then I'll layer that on something else as well. It helps to frame the pattern paper. You don't have to do that. If you just have the pattern paper, you can still layer that pattern paper on top of each other. You can go stripes and polka dots. You know, like they say when you wear clothes, you can't have your stripes and polka dots together. Pattern paper you can. Have at it. Enjoy. I'm going to continue to add these layers to have them cross, because you can tell you can still see each one, even though they're going on top of each other. Finally, I'm going to come in with that white square that I stamped on, and I'm going to place that right in the center of that piece of pattern paper. You know, that pattern paper would be like just by itself as a note card. Just saying. And then I'm going to place the sticker right by the foot. I figured, you know, seek and find your own foot. Yeah, it didn't turn, there's something missing. I'm going to add some of these gemmed flowers just as an accent, and then I'm going to adhere this panel onto my non-standard card base, which will be 6 by 6, and it will be a top folding card. For our next card, I dug into these lemon papers. So I have a base. I also used the panel with the blue because I will be using the enamel dots that come in. I'm going to use a piece of fun foam to prop up this panel, to put this on there. And then I will use my double-sided tape for the other side of the foam, so that I can adhere that down onto the panel that is sitting there. Once that's set in place, I took another piece of the cardstock and cut a rectangle. And of course right there, I'm running out of double-sided foam tape, so I'm going to use my double-sided foam squares. And I'm just going to prop that, and I'm going to put that towards the left-hand side of the card front, so that the two circles can sit off the top right-hand corner of that. And again, I'm going to take one of the sentiments and I'm going to cut it so that it'll fit on the white circle. Again, no screaming. It's all good. It'll go back together. And it's not like it's going to go back together permanently, but you're able to put it back together. Trust me. I'm going to use one of my Gina K inks to stamp this image, and I'm going to use fresh asparagus for that color. I did want a green tone when I stamped this image, or the sentiment. I'm going to prop the white circle up onto that yellow circle, and I'm going to set it down just a little bit so that it's not perfectly centered. And then I'm going to use one of my foam squares, put that on the one side because this will be hanging off the edge. I'll use my liquid adhesive on the other and then just set that in place. I'm going to use the enamel dots as an accent, and I'm also going to make a bow with the yellow twine for this piece. And that's going to come off the bottom of the circle the way that the sentiment is coming off of it. And you'll see what I mean when I place this bow, because I'm going to use a glue dot to make sure that it's placed correctly. So I am doing my double bow. I'm going to trim it using my scissors. And then we're going to get that in place. And that's where that's going to sit. So it's kind of underneath the sentiment. So it's going to be even with that, or parallel. I'm not sure what the word is I'm looking for there. And that is card number 2. So for our third card, I already took care of stamping the image, and I used my Altenew alcohol markers to color that image. And I did it using 2 different colors, no more than that. I'm going to layer my panels, and I have this big circle cut, and I'm going to put double-sided foam tape on one side. And then when I place that down onto that panel, I am going to use my long shears to trim off the rest of that circle. So I have that big, beautiful blue coming across it. I'm going to real quick fussy cut the rainbow out, and I'm going to make sure I'm going to go right up to the line. I don't want to have any white space around that. And once I'm done fussy cutting this, I will use my black Memento marker to go around the edges just to get rid of any white that I may have left behind. And the black, and it can be any black marker. I know some that use the Distress Ink black soot marker. You know, again, you just want to have it to have a brush nib so that you can do that. But when you're using alcohols, you do want to make sure that it is an alcohol friendly so that it doesn't bleed. I'm going to put foam squares on one side and have that coming off of the half circle. And then I also did a second generation stamping using that Soft Navy by Simon Says. So I stamped it onto a scratch piece of paper and then onto my cardstock. And then I fussy cut those because I want to have 3 clouds at the end of each side of this rainbow. And I'm going to do that through glue and double-sided foam tape just to give it some dimension. And then we'll get the last one placed. We're going to prop this onto my standard A2 size card base, which is 4 1/4 and 5 1/2, and this will be a top folding card. I did not add a sentiment to this. I think it would be great just to have a note card. So here I'm going to have fun with these ephemera pieces. I am in love with this bright lime green against that red, white, and black. I think it is awesome and very, it's almost regal. I think it just is a great, they are great accenting colors against themselves. I'm taking the lined pattern paper and I'm going to place that along the left-hand side of my bright green panel. I have a white oval that's been die cut, and again, half of the side or half of this panel is going to have some double-sided foam tape and also some liquid adhesive on the other. I am going to set that towards the top because I am really going to fill up this oval, which has become my base for all of these beautiful flowers. And again, it's the color. I just think it is, they are really cool, and against that lime green, they can't help but to be the focal point of your card. You know, it would be great to make little tiny cards with this pattern paper, you know, like little tiny 3x3 note cards, and then just have that, you know, use the bright green papers and then that splash of red, black, and white will just make them pop. So you can see I'm putting all of my ephemeras using my liquid adhesive and also my double-sided foam squares, and I'm just filling that up. I'm starting from the bottom right-hand corner, and I'm just adding and adding and adding to it. I'm then going to bring in these absolutely adorable little tiny ladybugs. They're so cute! And I'm going to put one on the sentiment, and I'm going to use the piece of ephemera for my sentiment. And it's actually going to say Ladybug Hugs. So I'm going to put that down in the right hand or left hand corner. I'm just going to trim around the edge. There are some areas where items are hanging off, and you always want to trim those, or at least I do. You don't have to. And again, I'm going to place that on my standard A2 size card base. So for the last card, I'm going to use the stencil. Now I'm going to be using my makeup brush and my Distress Oxides. So I'm starting out with Tumbled Glass. Now what's really interesting with this stencil set, it's 2 pieces. So that second piece actually fills in. It's like one's the positive, the other one's the negative of the stencil. So now I'm going to come in, I started with Broken China, and or with Tumbled Glass, and as I'm coming up, now I'm switching to Broken China. So these cloud layers are getting darker and darker, and you see I got into the teardrops. That's okay, we're just going to blend right over it. You won't see them, promise. Next up is Faded Jeans, and I'm going to do a couple of those lines, or the cloud lines, I should say. Just going to make this one just a little bit darker, because you can see I'm getting darker as I go to the top. The last color that I will use for this, and you can see I'm also getting closer with those cloud lines is black soot. Yes, I'm going to come in with some black soot. So I just want those cloudy lines to be at the top. And I just had a problem with this thing staying still because I was holding it wrong. And then finally, towards the top, I'm going to come back in with the black soot, and I'm going to come back in with the faded jeans to fill in those areas. I don't want all of that white from the cardstock. So now I'm going to come back down and fill in. Just take away some of that white with all of the colors that I use. So you can see that panel really died down just a little bit. You can see I've got that gradient color going from light to dark towards the top. So now I'm going to real quick clean off my stencil, because now I do want to use the raindrops. I want to pull those in, and I'm using that baby white that I just cleaned off with, and I'm going to remove some of the Distress ink that I just blended down. So now I've got raindrops at the top. So it's almost like when I saw this, when it came to the sentiment, it says after, excuse me, after every storm, there is a rainbow. So that just got me thinking. So I pulled back out the rainbow stamp, and I'm using the broken china, and I'm using the other side of the stencil as a mask when it comes to stamping this rainbow, because I want it to come up out of the clouds. It's like I want part of it hidden, but I want the image of it. I didn't want it to be colored. I didn't want it to have any shading. And you could have just shaded it with that blue. Absolutely. If you wanted to have that. But I just wanted the impression of those lines of a rainbow that are just popping through those clouds. I did add some more black soot and faded jeans to the top just to make it a little bit darker. I am going to put this onto my standard A2 size card base. And I did cut this panel to be 4 by 5 1/4. And again, the sentiment after every storm there is a rainbow, it just got me thinking. So I'm going to trim that down, and then that's just going to sit on this. So what I have is a storm, and then having it clearing up, and the rainbows are coming out. So yeah, there was a lot of thought in that. I had a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun always with these cards, you know, just to come up with the designs. But that one I just did have a lot of fun with it. I do play off of the sentiments when there's statements like that, you know, of course, birthday and celebration. But usually when there's a sentiment, it kind of helps me, kind of triggers what the card's going to look like. So as always, these are the cards that we made in regular speed so that you do have a chance to see them and get a closer look of them. As I said, all of the links will be down below, whether it's to the downloads, the ingredient sheet, or the sketch, to the Scrapping for Less store, their blogs, so that you can have even more inspiration. Make sure you hop along. Please go to my blog so that you can see all of the other wonderful designers and the designs that they created. And by all means, the most important link down below will be to get your subscription so that you don't miss out on this collection here. If you have any questions, make sure you leave those down below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I do hope everyone is having a wonderful day. I hope you are all continuing to being safe and healthy as we are continuing to go through this challenge. But we will get through. Think positive, as I try to do as well. Everyone, please enjoy. And remember what's most important for me. Always be creative. Till next time, guys.